Tonight we are ogling an auditorium of objects and ornaments. Let's meet some ornaments to their profession. The opulent Sarah Millican. The ostentatious Cariad Lloyd. The oratorical Levine. And objection, Alan Davis. Noises are from priceless objects kindly lent to us by the Victoria and Albert Museum. So Sarah goes. Oh, that's nice, pretty, isn't it? Cariad goes. That's lovely. Alice goes. And Alan goes.
Don't touch the exhibit, sir.
Well, that's horribly familiar, that.
Right, top question. Where are you most likely to come across a UFO? Yes, Millican.
In the sky?
Anybody else? Yes.
Reading. Not much happens in Reading, so...
Don't you think they want to go somewhere where the stuff is happening?
No, because they want to be secret. The whole of Reading could be aliens, you wouldn't even know.
Why do they want to be secret? This big assumption that they come here all this way and then just hide.
Somebody knows a lot about them, don't they?
Near airports, because they always look like planes, weirdly.
Yes, that is quite a strange thing, isn't it? They do look a bit like planes. And the answer is the ocean. The most common and most dangerous UFOs are unidentified floating objects. Usually pieces of lost cargo, and they lie along the shipping routes just under the surface. They can damage ships tremendously. Between 2008 and 2013, an average of about 1,700 shipping containers were lost at sea. Look at this picture. That is seriously bad packing, isn't it? That's
Surely not in one go.
Well, about half of those 1,700 came from a single ship, the MOL Comfort. The ship actually broke in half. If anybody knows, please, could you let me know? I want to know where the Brighton Lego man is. I'd like to come and say hello.
Why is it never a Lego woman that's washed up?
Because the Lego woman wasn't beach ready.
February 2017, £50 million worth of cocaine washed up on a beach in Norfolk, and I don't know where that is either. There is a National UFO Reporting Centre, which is the UFOs that we normally think of, the unidentified flying objects. It was started by a man called Robert Gribble. He's a fireman from Seattle, and he collects UFO sightings. And since 1905, there have been 105,000 reports of alien sightings. A tenth of those have been here in the UK.
But the photos are never on a camera that's more than 1 megapixel.
Yeah.
It's always conveniently grainy.
A little bit fuzzy. Anybody know the best place in the UK to see a UFO? Yes, Reading.
Reading!
No.
I think there's some near us. I think there's some aliens near us.
Do you?
Because my dog barks at all other dogs, but no people apart from one family near us. And whenever they walk past, we look at my husband and I go, lizard people. And I know that they're walking past going, he knows.
Norfolk.
No, it's not. It's Scotland. It's Bonnybridge in Scotland.
Oh, yeah.
It's the place where you're most likely.
I don't know one of them. Is that guy an alien?
This is a man called Billy Buchanan. He's a councillor in Bonnybridge. I'm not sure why he photobombed our shot of the of the sign. They have 300 sightings a year, roughly, in Bonnybridge.
Is it all by one man?
Actually, hold on.
He has 65 days off a year.
It's also known as the Falkirk Triangle. The fact is, is that Bonny Bridge is under 3 flight paths, including those for Edinburgh and Glasgow Airport. It's your point there, Alice, isn't it?
I mean, just saying.
So the very first flying saucers, in fact, weren't even a saucer shape. So in 1947, there was a pilot called Kenneth Arnold, and he reported seeing 9 objects whose movement was like a saucer if you skipped it across the water, is what he actually said. He didn't say they looked like flying saucers. In fact, they were more sort of crescent-shaped or boomerang-shaped. But the place in America that you would most likely find a UFO is Roswell, is the place that everybody thinks you heard about that. Again, 1947, I don't know. So these are the street lamps in Roswell. Aren't they great?
Well, you're not helping matters, are you?
No, not really.
Every night at around 7 p.m. they come out.
I really, really love these. And they have an annual UFO festival where they have an alien pet competition. How alien can you make your dog look? Which
A lot of the sightings are near military bases, aren't they?
Yes.
And then people say that it's because the military are trying to cover it up. But is it actually that it's something military-related, but they can't tell us because top secret?
Or
Yes.
the military is entirely made up of aliens.
Yes.
Just offering that out there.
I think you're more likely to be right. And as this is the case, I wondered if I could interest you an insurance policy against alien abduction.
How much is it?
Well, for about £120 a year, I can protect you against alien impregnation.
What if I was on the pill? Or 41,
well,
you know?
Men are also able to purchase impregnation insurance of this kind for protection against the unknown capabilities of alien technology. So your pill, not really going to be anywhere. So far, more than 30,000 of these policies have been sold.
30,000?
Yeah, one I like is called the Goodfellow Rebecca Ingram's Pearson policy, which, if you put that together, is GRIP. So get a GRIP policy. I love these insurance policies. In 2000, there were 3 sisters from Inverness who insured themselves against the possibility of miraculously conceiving and raising the second Christ.
I hate it when that happens.
When that happened. Oh, no. But we have worried about UFOs for a very long time. Probably the earliest picture that we have of a potential UFO was 1561 over the skies in Nuremberg.
That's the sun, though, isn't it?
Well, bear in mind, this is the best they could do for a photo in 1561.
Is that what the sky looked like that day?
Yes, so they say. It lasted for about an hour, and there were lights and flashes all over the place. And what we now think it was something called a mock sun or a sun dog. And what you sometimes get ice crystals up in the upper part of the sky. And so it is just the sun reflecting ice crystals. But there was a report in the Gazette of the town of Nuremberg. At the dawn of April the 4th, in the sky of Nuremberg, a lot of men and women saw a very alarming spectacle where various objects were involved, including bulls approximately 3 in the length from time to time, 4 in a square, much remained insulated, and between these bulls one saw a number of crosses with the colour of blood. Then one saw 2 large pipes in which small and large pipes were 3 bulls, also 4 or more. All these elements started to fight one against the other.
So how many balls did Arvinda have?
Might have lost a bit in translation.
Do you think so? Yeah.
Maybe they were, like, paid by the word as well, because the colour of blood could have just been red.
Yeah. Anybody know where the word Gazette comes from? Just a little sidebar. Give it extra point if anybody knows.
Reading. I
Yes.
just don't feel like I need to say it. I know.
Gazing, a small gazer, like a gazette.
And it does sound like that, doesn't it? No, is the answer. It's a Venetian coin. The very first newspapers in Venice, so we're talking early to sort of mid-16th century, were sold for a Venetian coin called a gazzetta. Okay. And so the newspaper became known as the Gazette, but it's just the name of a coin, like calling it a sixpence or a farthing or something. Wow. Right, you wake up, wrapped in a futon, covered in orange paint, there's confetti everywhere, and you smell of smoke. What the heck happened?
That's Tuesday.
Now, can anybody first of all spot whose face that is in the picture? We've photoshopped.
Cariad.
It's Cariad's face.
Did you not recognise your own face?
Yeah, I mean, no, so to be honest, as a man, sexily posing with spots all over his body and orange haze, I wasn't instantly sure it was me.
OK, so all of those things, smoke and confetti and the futon, they are all...
Well, it sounds like someone dressed as a hot dog, maybe, doesn't it? If you were to lie in the futon, roll yourself up, the orange is almost the kind of mustard, or even the Frankfurter.
Yeah. My actual answer is going to be so boring by comparison.
Sandy, tell me, what is it?
They're all methods...
I would need to take more clothes off, but I'm not going to, because I like the picture.
Those are all methods of dealing with offenders. So anybody waking up with those has probably committed a crime, is the truth of it. Take the orange paintballs, they're for shop staff in Japan to throw at offenders. They're the size of a tennis ball, and they are known as Bohan Yukaraburu, anti-crime colour balls. And the idea, if somebody's committing a crime, you throw it at them, and then they are marked and easier to
You
track.
have to be good at throwing.
Well, this is the main problem with them,
you
OK?
might hit the wrong person.
Yeah, good.
So they are widely distributed, and under moments of stress, staff either tend to forget they've... The staff tend to forget they've got them.
No reflexes at all.
Cariad's reflexes just to go back into the position.
So people forget they've got them, or they freeze, or they see that the robber is armed and think that paintball thing not going to go so well. They have signs in the shops if they've got the orange paintballs, and that does seem to put some people off from robbing those shops.
That's what they do in Poundland. They have a picture of a policeman in the window, because if they put a picture of a policeman in the window, people shoplift less.
Do they?
Yeah.
So they could put a picture of the balls in the window. That's all they need.
I have the orange balls.
How'd you like my
I'll
orange
take
balls?
my business elsewhere.
Do you feel like you should say something, though, when you throw it? So you should be like, no.
should be like, yeah,
bad.
stop.
Stop.
Don't.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Bad.
I
I've
quite
seen
like
you.
that with a robber. Stop it!
Stop it.
I was on a train once, and there were some boys who'd had sherry too many, and they were being very vulgar and loud and frightening some people over on the other side. And I suddenly stood up and I went, "That will do." They said sorry. The other technique is the futon technique, which is also Japanese, and it deals with drunk or violent people. They wrap them up in plastic futons and then carry them to cells to calm them down. But apparently it works. So in 2014, the Japanese police fired only 6 shots in the entire country, when the US, if you look at the comparison, had 33,599 gun deaths. Wow. So this has got to be the answer. Plastic futons. There seems to be a very
I
straightforward.
imagine somehow that in the US, if they had orange balls, there'd be a lot more orange balls thrown.
Yeah, probably.
I think it's just general politeness in Japan.
Yeah.
Do you think that's what happened to Donald Trump? Somebody got him right in the face with a... There's a Japanese office supply company that sells wearable futon air mat sets. They're sold as a perfect solution to people who sleep at work. So you go to work wearing your futon and then you sort of blow it up and lie down and sleep.
There's a big culture in Japan. It's called like inuri, which is you sleep anywhere.
Inamuri.
Inuri, yeah. And it's because they have this thing of like you should work so hard that it's okay to sleep literally anywhere. You see people like on the side of a motorway, salarymen they call them, just to sleep on the side.
Yeah. So the other two I had confetti and smoke machines. Smoke machines are used in some stores in the UK, and they set them off and it obscures the view of any stuff in the shop whatsoever.
And makes it like an 80s music video.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So we're really mad that you're robbing us, but...
Yeah. And confetti is another safety mechanism. When you fire a taser gun, apparently, it also releases a tiny amount of confetti.
Oh, how lovely.
You know. I just go, ow, oh, nice.
My heart stopped.
If you look in the middle picture, you can just see little bits, tiny colour bits of confetti.
Somebody literally thought, oh, I mean, it's so sad, let's jazz it up. And they get tasered.
It's supposed to deter people using tasers to commit crimes. In order to get a taser, you have to register it with the company, and then you get a specific number, and that number's on the confetti to make sure that bad people don't use them.
You know what they could have done instead? When I got married, people threw confetti, which was lovely, because it's like pretendy flowers. But some people threw rice, and I don't know if you know this, but rice really hurts. It's like being pelted with grit.
So, anyway, what was Lord Montagu's secretary doing on the bonnet of his car?
Wow.
I don't know, but she called a lot of people before she did it.
It must have been a warm day.
Was she a cog in the patriarchy, but she was getting paid for it, so in a way it was OK because of the time?
It's possible I love you, Karen. No. Who was Lord Montagu of...
Bewley.
Lord Montagu of Bewley. What is Bewley famous for?
Motor Museum.
Motor Museum, so cars. We're talking about cars.
This is a bit like how they used to entice you to buy lots of things, like washing machines. You're like, do I want a washing machine? Oh, a sexy lady sat on it. I now want that washing machine.
He was particularly associated with one motor car.
A British-made one?
Yes, beautiful, amazing.
A Bentley?
No, possibly, I think...
A Ford car.
Most beautiful car of all time.
Rolls-Royce?
Rolls-Royce, absolutely right.
Oh, was she the lady?
Yes, the iconic figure. The Spirit of Ecstasy. Eleanor Thornton, she was the secretary to John Walter Douglas Scott Montague, 2nd Baron Montague of Bewley, motoring pioneer, and he commissioned a figure as a personal mascot on the front of the 1910 Rolls-Royce Silver Ghost, and it was called the Whisper, and so the original one was like that because allegedly it was a secret love affair that they were having.
It's not that secret if you put it on the front of all the cars.
Yes.
Was his wife like, oh, right, I see, so you base that on your secretary, but nothing's going on?
Yeah, and the figure was sometimes known as Ellie in her 90, was the thing about it.
Which doesn't sound dodgy at all, does it?
doesn't.
To be fair, you wouldn't necessarily know who that was. You'd be
Yeah.
like, does he work with anyone with one eye, a moustache, a crew cut, and one mono boob? The secretary.
But over the years, people have put lots of ornaments, and choice is not always suitable for the sort of things that people have had. So there's been- So that's why they standardised it. The Whisper became the Spirit of Ecstasy because they didn't want people doing that kind of thing. And then...
The middle one says Spirit of Ecstasy to me.
we couldn't actually get the car ornament, so this is a little model.
You've skewered a robin. The middle one.
In 1937, a picture was circulated of a robin impaled on a car ornament, and there was a terrible backlash against having ornaments at all, and they were banned. And in fact, if you have them today, they need to be spring-loaded and bolted to the car and all kinds
The
of
ornithologists are going to be on, Sandy.
I know.
They're going to be furious.
The DVLA has a banned list of licence plates that runs to 46 pages, things that you may not have as your licence.
Bollocks.
Well, kind of. So this one is supposed to be rude if you read it in your rear-view mirror. So can everybody work it out?
I nearly just did that. I've got a mirror with me.
Yeah, it's supposed to be oral. So anyway, it's banned. It's
I
banned.
was still like...
Banned, banned,
Have a look.
banned. Possible humour, banned. Possible smiling, banned. No smiling on the road, banned. Do not think of sex, banned. Stop it, stop it.
See if you can work out these other ones.
Filth,
Top left.
Doggers.
Doggers.
banned, banned, no. Intercourse.
Heroin?
Heroin.
Oh, scrotum.
Scrotum.
Oh, scrotum.
And
How dare you? I feel sick.
What's the bottom one?
alcohol.
Oh,
Banned, no.
I think we've got...
that's fair enough to ban
I
alcohol.
love that Sarah just went, oh, scrotum, are these available ones?
In America, you can buy these,
Oh,
OK?
Sandy.
I know.
Do you know how to handle them?
Hang on a second. Hang on a minute. I've totally got this. Cough.
When you said cough, did you just breathe in a little bit?
She went cough and then she went, hey.
This is a sight you will see nowhere else in the world.
Alan, is that normal size?
Well, they're a little small.
They're called truck nuts. And they are genitals for your car.
I'm all right, thanks.
Oh, come on. Banned.
They have been banned in some states.
Have they? Truck nuts? What, you hang them on your truck?
Yes, look, there, see the picture? Some states have banned them for indecency. In Virginia, the law states no person shall display upon or equip any motor vehicle with any object or device that depicts, represents or resembles human genitalia regardless of size or scale. Right, moving on. Describe the world's best-dressed crab. Yes.
I'm going to say a little bit of lime, some chilli, some mayo, and then just, yeah, serve with, like, brown bread, probably.
That does sound delicious.
Sounds good, doesn't it?
But I'm actually talking about a live crab.
You didn't say that.
No, I didn't. I should be clearer.
A lot of the things you said tonight have been ambiguous.
Yes. Welcome to the show.
Is it in a shell suit?
I'm proud to be your friend. No. There's something called a dresser crab, or indeed the decorator crab, and what it does is it gathers material from all around itself in order to blend in with the surroundings. So it's basically making camouflage clothing. They cover their shells in seaweed, in sponge and pearls, chewing on the material in order to make it fibrous, and then it attaches it to itself. It's got like little tiny Velcro bits on its claws and legs. I love this one is seriously getting dressed up.
That's Cardiff like on a Saturday night, that is. That's proper getting ready.
And they're found off the coast of Australia. They're tiny, just over 1.5 inches. And sometimes what they do is they put noxious stuff on them to ward off predators. It's called aposematism.
It's called lynx. Other sprays are available.
But there are lots of what we call augmented animals, so animals who make themselves look a bit different. One of my favourites, Urubba caterpillar. It keeps its old heads and wears them as hats.
That is hoarding gone mad.
As it grows, it sheds its exoskeleton, and the protrusion on the top of the head remains, and eventually it has a stack which it uses both as a weapon and as a false target for any would-be predators. It's known as the mad caterpillar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it would be, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Found in Australia and New Zealand, isn't it wonderful?
That's incredible.
He doesn't even need that. Look how much you'd remember him anyway.
Yeah.
You know the one? Do you remember the guy you met him last week? He had 5 heads on his... and 5 heads as a hat.
5-head Gary, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There's another one, which is a beetle that lives in the Costa Rican rainforest. It's called Nymphster crenari, and it disguises itself as an army ant's bottom. So that looks like it's just an ant, but the bit that is a protrusion, as if the ant has got terrible hemorrhoids, is actually a beetle. And what it does is it bites onto the ant and then it rides around, disguised as an army ant's bottom.
What a
We
laugh.
all like you...
What a life, I know. There are lots of creatures that live with ants. They're called myrmecophiles, so they love ants. This is the very first one that attaches itself for a ride.
Do you think the ant knows what's happening, why it's got an extra bum? Or do you think the ant is like, oh my God, the piles are back?
Yeah.
Well, it'll keep going like that, wouldn't it?
Yeah. What the hell is that?
I'm sure there's something.
Suddenly you're the Kim Kardashian of the
Oh, no. You never see me. Every now and then it goes... doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. I can hear something. But then the ant will shit in its face. Oh, you ruined it! You were behind me, you shitty beetle!
All the other ants are going, you haven't put on any weight, you look fine. Really? Are you sure? You look fine.
And then the 5-head caterpillar goes, have you seen him? He's hanging on to his arse. Well, he can't possibly be living down there. There's a beetle on the exhaust. Swap places. Oh, yes, there's a beetle on the exhaust. Go down there. I can't get up there. Why am I always at the bottom?
They're all from the same animal, but they're all from different regions. Like, different
I think that you can have your bottom made bigger. Can you do that?
You have bottom implants, yeah.
Can you?
Yeah.
I just eat more.
How do you guarantee that it goes to the bottom?
You just sit a lot.
Okay.
Now, what is the lady at the back of this picture saying?
What's going on?
She got a mask on?
She has got a mask on.
Is she wondering how she's keeping a mask on? Because I can't see any elastic.
That is exactly the question. So, these are black velvet masks. We haven't got black velvet ones, but we have got masks for you. They were worn in the 16th century. And the way you kept them on, there's a sort of a bead, but we've done a button for you there. And you put that in your mouth.
If anyone turns on now, this is like an episode of Black Mirror.
So the answer is she's not saying anything because she's using... There you go. Sorry, what?
She's got a button.
She's got a button in her mouth. That's exactly right.
She's saying, I'm not marrying a hippo.
What? Why? The glasses are a triumph. In fact,
I have a reoccurring nightmare, and it's this right here.
why might she be wearing it? What's the reason?
Is it like scars from horrible
She's
sexually transmitted
proving how
diseases?
rich she is. So how is she doing that?
Oh, her skin is so white.
I was
Her
going to
skin
say
is
she looks almost as pale as me.
Yeah. So the idea is to avoid sunburn. The most complete example that we have of one of these is the Daventry mask, which was discovered, there it is, in Northamptonshire, found inside a wall while they were renovating a 16th century building. And
They've
the idea is
spent
you'll
about
say...
5 seconds making that, haven't they? You'd be better off
tan. I don't work in the fields. I'm a
They
fantastic
do that in
wealthy person.
Vietnam, you know. You'll go on the beach and all the girls are completely covered. The face is covered, arms covered right up to their neck, because they want to have white skin. Otherwise, you look like a peasant.
I have to wear factor 50.
Do you burn badly?
I don't take a glowing tan. Yeah, I look like a newborn fish. You can see, like, through my skin and see my organs, yeah.
That's deeply unpleasant.
Yeah, it is.
The lady in our painting is actually wearing something called a moretta muta. It was a Venetian variation on the mask. Does anybody know what this painting is? It's a wonderful painting of Clara the rhinoceros from 1751. This is a sort of sad story. 17 years she was toured around Europe, and of course it was an extraordinary thing. Nobody had ever seen rhinoceroses.
What, they've just taken the horn off? Is that what they've done?
Well, as far as we know, the year before she was displayed in Venice, she had rubbed the horn off in Rome, where she was on display. So clearly an animal in some distress. And she eventually...
Whenever I'm in distress, I rub a horn.
Yeah, rub the horn off. Eventually, she came to Britain. In fact, she died in Lambeth at the Horse and Groom pub, where she was being shown for 6
We've all died at the Horse and Groom.
So your factor 50. In 1938, there was a chemistry student called Franz Greiter, and he got sunburned while he was climbing the Pisbuin Peak in the Alps, and he went on to develop sunscreen, which he called Glacier Cream, but we now know it. There's the company that is named after the mountain.
That's what they say in Wales if you've been sick the next morning from alcohol. I was Pisbuin. Like, instead of spewing.
Is that right? I was
Oh, I was
Pisbuin.
hanging and I've been Pisbuin all morning. Wouldn't he be proud to know that?
Yes. So, Alan, I've got a question just for you. What is the largest creature that gets sunburn?
Blue whale?
Yes, it is! It spends less time breathing at the surface. It's about 2 minutes than the sperm whale, which spends about 10 minutes. But the blue pigmentation means it is more likely to get
Very vulnerable.
sunburned.
Yes,
Yeah.
and it's a lot of ombre solaire.
Where would you find these ornaments?
Oh.
Yes.
Oh. That is an orchid. That's
is.
genuinely called something like the Hanging Willy Man or something.
It's called the Orchis Italia.
Oh, OK.
Orchid Italia.
It's known amongst gardeners as like the naked man, isn't it?
It is called the Naked Man
yeah.
orchid, is its
People who can't do
nickname.
Latin, like.
Yeah.
My naked man's come up lovely
Oh,
this
yeah.
year.
I've got 16 naked men in my garden. And a
I've been
futon.
giving a lot of attention to my naked man.
Which is funny because the orchid is named after the female genitalia. That's where the Latin comes from.
I think the orchid's name means testicles. You've got your genitalia around the wrong way, which... I can help you with that. But orchids come in the most wonderful shapes. There's one shaped like the laughing bumblebee on the left there. Oh. The other one is the swaddled baby.
Yeah.
And then the one on the right, it's a birthwort flower. Do you not think it looks a bit like Darth Vader?
That's an STI.
I'm not going to come in, I'm just going to send you a photograph of it. I can't get any clothes on with this thing. Could we Skype? Could we Skype it?
It is known as a Dutchman's pipe, is its nickname.
You do not want one of those.
Apparently it stinks. It smells of rotting flesh. So what it does, those membranes, which look like sort of eyes, are really, really thin and lets the light through, and the insects are attracted to the smell of the rotting flesh. And then they go down into those sort of little holes there, and they get trapped in hairs, and it makes them shake about like that, and then they get pollen all over themselves, and then the hairs wither away just before the insect dies, and the insect can release itself from the flower and go off and pollinate. Isn't it amazing? The orchid means testicles because in...
Sorry, I got
no, it's all right. In Middle English, it was called bollock-wort.
I think you would have got that one. You would have known that
The
one.
next time you're backstage with somebody and they've got a marvellous orchid has been delivered, you go, oh, nice bollock-wort.
I think we should bring that back. Bollock-wort is much better than orchids. I've got 2 lovely bollock-worts, actually, on my windowsill.
Good for you. Talking about mimicry, have a look at these. These are snapdragons.
Oh,
but look
yeah,
at
the
that.
skull one, yeah.
Snapdragon skulls. Amazing. So there was a mania for collecting orchids. It was called orchid delirium. Hit the UK in the early 19th century. There was a naturalist called William John Swainson, and he packed some orchids which hadn't flowered. He mistook them for weeds, and he used them as packaging material. And when they arrived in Britain, they burst into bloom, and people couldn't believe it. And flowers were beginning to change hands for more than $1,000 per plant. I mean, amazing amounts of money, which is about 25 grand. that they were exchanging for a single plant. Isn't it amazing?
For one bolloquart.
For one bolloquart, yes. What you really want is a pair, obviously. One of the UK's rarest plants is an orchid. It's a beautiful thing called the ghost orchid. It was first discovered in Britain in 1845. And isn't it delicate and amazing? It was seen 11 more times in the 1950s, sometimes a few Chiltern sites. It was one of the rarest things. Anybody who was interested in plants wanted to find one of these ghost orchids. And there's a sweet story. It was a motorbike salesman called Mark Yannick, and he was searching and searching. In 2009, he finally found one. And apparently when he saw it, he said, "Hello, you, so there you are." Oh. And you can see some today in the Welsh National Herbarium.
Of course. It's a lovely vase of them.
Yes, a lovely vase, yes. So they get their name, partly because of the colour, but also they're a little bit spooky. They have no chlorophyll at all. So all plants, we think, have got photosynthesis, and that's how they stay alive. But it's a parasite. It steals energy from funguses below, so it can live in the dark, shaded woods. And again, that's another reason why we can't find them. Aren't they gorgeous?
Amazing.
I like the one with the cock more.
Yeah. What I like about you, Sarah, is you're reliable. Now, name an object that is designed to fail. Yes, Alice.
I feel like all phones and laptops are designed to fail after exactly 24 months. Weirdly, when your contract's up, they just stop working immediately.
There does seem to be something in that, doesn't there? It's a thing called planned obsolescence. Hours, and they used to test each other's light bulbs, and there were fines levied if your light bulb was able to last longer. And the idea was that you deliberately gave all your products a limited lifespan.
Because aren't there still light bulbs that work from yesteryear?
Oh, there's a light bulb in a Californian fire station which is still going after 115 years, and weirdly, there's a webcam.
Oh, I totally want to look at that.
That you can look at to make sure that it's actually working. But, I mean, the modern energy-saving light bulb, I can see nothing when they're on.
What about the ones that come on a bit, and then they come on really slowly?
I like those ones.
You can use those ones for, like, sort of sexy time.
Yeah.
If you're quick. It's getting brighter! It's getting brighter! Oh, I'm getting... Oh, no! Get the mask! Get the mask!
Well, those modern energy-saving light bulbs, they last about 2,500 hours, but there are lots of planned obsolescences. So DuPont, who invented nylon in the 1930s... Now, nylon, tough stuff. You make parachutes out of it, right? It's fantastic stuff. But they were reportedly told to make it fragile for making nylon tights.
That's so irritating. Why did they do that to us?
Do people still put nail polish on their
Yeah,
leather?
I used to put nail polish on and then you'd forget and it stuck to your leg. And took a couple of hairs out. You were lucky, so you didn't have to shave that bit.
I only ever had red nail polish. I look like a mild burns victim.
But you have to use the clear nail polish.
Yeah. The 1920s, the American car market was saturated, and the head of General Motors, a man called Alfred P. Sloan, he came up with the idea of changing the design each year, and that was the idea that it's called dynamic obsolescence. So the idea is, you say, I want the new car. There was a man called Bernard London in 1932 wrote a book called Ending the Depression Through Planned Obsolescence.
And that's why they invented that ham with the face on it.
Sorry?
Because people bought ham, but then they were like, how do we change up ham? So then they put a face on it, and everyone's like, great, now it's face meat. So it's so much better.
There's meat with a face on it? That's called a pig. But the other thing, of course, that seems to me to have planned obsolescence is bloody printer cartridges.
Yeah.
Oh, finally, someone's talking about the big issues.
I know! In North America, more than 350 million, often not empty, cartridges are dumped every single year. That's a lot.
Does everybody have a printer that doesn't work, though,
Yes.
under a chest of drawers?
Yeah.
I don't remember mine ever working, but it must have printed once, but now I just keep it under a chest of drawers.
Why are you keeping it?
Well, exactly. You've got one. We've all got one. Why do we keep them?
Yeah, I've got a couple of those.
Yeah?
And about 4 computers and 8 phones.
Someone's doing all right for themselves.
I had a fax machine until fairly recently.
Do you know what I've got? And I can't see, no matter how many times you clear out the understairs cupboard, there's a fondue set. But you clear them out, you get rid of it, it goes to the charity shop. The next time you clear, it's a bloody fondue set.
Do you know what? That's the most relatable thing I've heard all day.
Now, the object of the game is to avoid the klaxons as we play general ignorance. So fingers on buzzers, please. What would a medieval knight call this?
Chainmail.
Chainmail. No, it's just mail.
Oh.
I know.
Is that like saying pin number?
Yes, it is what's called a Victorian pleonasm. It's when you use many more words to explain something than really is necessary, but you don't really need that many words.
Isn't that QI?
It is QI. It's only been called chainmail since the turn of the 19th century. So we could say valuable time, couldn't we, by dropping the extra word.
I think I'd save days a year.
It's the same for suit of armour, because, of course, armour is a suit, so you don't need a suit of armour.
In Lord of the Rings, you know,
Yes.
they had all that chainmail. So it took 7 years to film the Lord of the Rings films, and there was a man whose only job was to slice a thin plastic tube every single day, and in that plastic tube, he made the chainmail. And on the special features of the DVD of Lord of the Rings, it's
Wow.
40 hours, you can watch it.
We're lucky you're here
I
tonight.
know. And this man, they said to him at the end, they were like, so you've been doing this 7 years? And he went, I wouldn't take back a day. It's been the best experience of my whole entire life.
What's it for? To make...
To make fake chainmail, because they couldn't give them real because it's too heavy, so
Right.
they made it out of plastic and sprayed it silver.
So why are they remaking it every day?
Because there were so many extras, there was so much to make, they had to
Is
constantly
everyone like
make
throwing it away at the end of the day?
No, it's plastic, so it just kept breaking. And also, Viggo Mortensen probably was, like, really living it, because he was so...
Seriously, between that and the hand with a face, I've no idea what anybody's talking about. Moving on, medieval battles were full of male-on-male action. Working my arse off here, people. What would you have seen tumbling across the prairie after George Washington made a terrible joke?
Oh,
Yeah, that is.
tumbleweed.
The answer is we don't know whether he ever made a joke, is the truth of it. But we do know it wasn't tumbleweed because during his lifetime there was
No tumbleweed?
no tumbleweed. It's native to Russia, not to the USA, and it arrived in the USA long after he had passed away. In the late 19th century, it was accidentally imported in shipments of flaxseed from Russia. Although when you drive now, you do see it just like that. And a single tumbleweed can become the size of a Volkswagen Beetle. They can bury houses, they can fuel forest fires. I mean, it is fearful stuff.
Oh, my God!
As it tumbles, it scatters seeds up to 250,000 per plant, so it keeps perpetuating itself. And in 2016, there's a rural city in Australia called Wangaratta, and they were hit by a type of tumbleweed called hairy panic.
That would be your wrestling name, Sandy.
Yeah.
Here she comes all the way from Denmark. It's Harry Potter! She's small, but she's fierce!
The truth is, we don't know whether George Washington ever told a joke, but when I was a child, I grew up in the United States, and we celebrated Washington's birthday. And you were made to tell George Washington jokes. So I've got a couple just to see what you think of them, that I have recalled. What would George Washington be if he were alive today?
Dead.
If he were alive today?
Old?
Yes, really, really old. Well done. How did George Washington speak to his army?
Up his sleeveys? No.
Loudly?
In general terms.
Oh.
They're as good as they were
Right.
when I was 8.
They haven't aged a day.
Not a day. Right, does anybody fancy a cup of tea?
Yes.
Tea all
Yes,
round?
please. Yes.
Yes, I feel there's not enough tea breaks. So what I'm going to do...
Do you have any herbal?
Jesus Christ. No, I haven't. Right. Anybody know, to the nearest 100 millilitres, how much water did it take to make this tea?
To make the whole pot.
To make the cup of tea I'm giving you. So 1 cup of tea. I've given you a little bit of milk. And everybody gets 2 sugars, so you don't have to use them, but so that's what I'm asking. So there's a cup of tea.
Tea, Cariad.
Thanks, darling.
Do you want
Thanks.
sugar? You guys want sugar?
That's piss weak, Sandy.
I didn't make the tea. I have people for that. To the nearest 100 millilitres.
300.
300!
Do you mean to the cup or in the
Yeah,
flask?
so 1 cup. To the nearest 100 millilitres, how much water did it take to make the tea?
200.
100.
100?
10 litres.
10. You're getting closer.
Oh.
Yes. The answer is 52,000 millilitres.
To grow the tea plant.
That's why it's so
Oh, that
weak.
wasn't the question.
It was to
I'm
make
trying
this...
to work out how much that is.
Yes, but it's QI. 52 litres of water, roughly, go into white tea with 2 sugars. So we'll see how it breaks down. Around 30 litres to make the amount of tea in a single tea bag. 10 litres to make the dash of milk. And 6 litres needed for every teaspoon of sugar. So 60 billion cups of tea consumed in Britain every year. So that gives us a footprint of 3,000 billion litres of water. So it's about 10 times the volume of water in Lake Windermere that is needed to make the tea for
Imagine making
Britain.
Lake Windermere into a giant cup of tea.
So what are your cups made of?
Polystyrene.
Styrofoam?
No, you're right. They're polystyrene. They are not styrofoam.
All right, don't pick on me.
But that's what we have new people on for.
Oh, OK.
Welcome to the show. So they're totally different things. Styrofoam is extruded polystyrene, which is the stuff on the left.
Does it come out of a bum?
Strawberry laces she's got for him.
So there's a difference between extruded polystyrene, which is styrofoam, and the stuff that we're drinking out of, which is expanded polystyrene. Now that you have dodged that round, let's take a look at the scores. And in 4th place, with the magnificent -34, it's Alan. In 3rd place, with a very creditable -29, Sarah. In 2nd place, and considering it's her first show, what an incredible score, -18, Alice. And finally, in 1st place, with 4 points, Cariad! Tonight's prize, Cariad, obviously. This lovely pair of truck nuts. There you are. Congratulations. To thank Alice, Sarah, Cariad and Alan, and you've all been so great, it's practically criminal. So let's break out my favourite object, confetti cannons. There we are. Ready? Steady.